Hello to the No Longer Waited family. I'm Ayana. It's probably great to see me outside of my car, and I wanted to just kind of do a small story time. And I noticed in YouTube world, there is a whole nother side of YouTube that caters to this 40 and this 50 and this 60 and this 70-year-old group of individuals who have lived experiences, and they see the true value and what they now can offer. Life experiences teach you so many things, and it's not until you stop or life causes you to stop that you realize your contribution can now be contributed in a whole totally different way. And I find myself in my 40s being more calm, being more at peace with who I am, not settling. Let's be clear. I'm in no means settling on who I am, but being more intentional about who God has created me to be. And let me go back to the purpose of this video today. So I left my corporate government contracting position back in 2021. And as cathartic as it is to speak on this, it's somewhat therapeutic because I have only truly sat in front of my therapist and fully shared this story. But I want to be a blessing to people in a way that wasn't forwarded to me. And I looked at, Tamron Hall's story of her starting over in her late 40s, getting the things that she wanted, having a baby, after losing her job, finding love, then, finding a baby, all to get in her own show, her syndicated show, and she is successful. And I looked at her story when I was going through my dilemma because she was let go from her job years ago. But I came upon her story shortly thereafter, leaving my job because I was in a search to find someone who could help me pinpoint my emotions and help me pinpoint my feelings after leaving an industry that I worked in for 25 years. I've always operated in a ministries of help, giving to people, social service industries, where I was serving families, I was serving children, I was serving the geriatric community. If there was a service to be provided, where there was case management, or there was career counseling, or there was leading a team of people, God would always give those jobs to me. It's like I was that kind of magnet for that kind of position. And oftentimes it can be thankless, but it also caused me to be so thankful for all that I had. So after working in government and state positions, community positions for the betterment of 25 years of my career, it was a day that all those years crumbled into like, I'm talking about a minuscule crumble. And I remember waking up that morning because there were some things that happened on my job that led up to it, but I don't think that is the meat of the story, more so than how I overcame that level of grief. I felt a level or a sense of betrayal. And I thought that I valued myself, but I was so accepting of how people treated me, because I had this mindset that if I was going to represent God, that there were going to be some things that I would just have to take. But my level of maturity surrounding that idea hadn't kicked in to the degree that it should have, because God did not call us to be doormats. He called us to be fearless, to be prudent, to be just, to be slow to speak and quick to hear. But there were things that I allowed to happen to me. And when I walked away, I blamed my surroundings versus there was an inner fight that I was tackling, or should I say at hand, in me. So I woke up one Thursday morning and I said, I'm not going back. And his first response to me, him and my girlfriend, they were like, hey, have you heard from God? And I'm like, no. And I wasn't angry that they asked me that question, because that is full accountability, but it was like, no. I didn't ask God. But the way that I'm feeling right now can't be God. So I swore, I only told one other person outside of my husband and my girlfriend. And she was a coworker. And I loved her to pieces. Just the most amazing person. And let's set the record straight. I worked for a great company. I had just come to my end at that point. Now, I blamed, in my mind, I was blaming other people for the way that I felt. But at the end of the day, there were things that I allowed, that God allowed me to see after the fact. So I share with my coworkers, like, hey, do with this information what you want to. But the history of our relationship is that you trust me, and I need your secrecy. And if you can't provide it, I won't hold you to that. But I gotta go. I gotta go. And her response was like, no, no. So I locked myself up in the office the whole day, and I was just rapid firing emails, because I didn't tell you guys this. I had just gotten the promotion of my life. I thought that that's what I wanted, but I'm not gonna say it wasn't what I wanted. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't the time. I think I had just reached my limit, and God said that there was more. I didn't see that in the moment, but I saw that after the fact. I saw that maybe 2 years down the road, where it's like God was saying, this is what I need from you. I need for you to step outside of yourself, step outside this spirit of codependency, and really walk with me. So I'm sitting, rapid firing emails, making sure that I have responsibly, at least in my mind, giving people what I felt like they would need in my absence. And I didn't call anybody. I just emailed. 5 o'clock struck that day. I emailed people, said, hey, today will be my last day. I didn't get any pushback. I did get a couple of phone calls. And I remember saying this one thing to someone who had texted me. And I just said, I chose me. I chose me. Now, mind you, we were a 2-income household. We had just bought a home. We bought a very small fixer-upper home. My husband had completely transformed his career as a CEO of a nonprofit to now working in sales. And we know how sales can be. So I come out of work and I'm just at home at this point. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have an idea. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't one of those things where I was like, God, I'm going to trust you. I was more hurt about my experiences leaving a job, leaving that job, leaving my career, leaving what was common, leaving what I was accustomed to, leaving patterns that I no longer had, leaving behaviors that I no longer had to get up to do, the routines that I had with me and my children every single day. Those things were broken, and it broke a system in me that I was accustomed to. And some people are like, girl, be happy that you were able to break that ceiling, break that chain. But there were parts of me that was like, God, I don't know if it was you. I don't know if it was me. I just know that it happened. And I know that it was supposed to happen. And I knew that I was supposed to burn a bridge. Because had they given me license to come back, I probably would have came back. And you know, immediately once you quit a job, they go ahead and make sure that your emails are withdrawn and all that good stuff. None of that happened for me. I was still able to access my email for weeks after I left the job. But and the relevance of that was they probably would have accepted me back in some capacity, maybe not in the leadership capacity, because I was, you know, the highest in line for my contract. So I managed the entire contract for the company that I worked for. Had a team of 30 plus people, 3 different departments, and over 200, participants of where I worked at the time. And so you don't just quit that job. You just don't quit it. You give people time, but that was my only response. And let me tell you, that was something that I had never done before in my entire life. I have never left a job without giving at least a 2-week resignation. If I was going on maternity leave, I hit 6 months, I already had a plan for what should happen next. If I was going to leave jobs that I left in the past, there were times where I gave 2 or 3 months in advance. And if you hear that noise, that's our little puppy. She's on bed rest for an incident that occurred about a week ago. So here I am, 25 years, master's degree. I dropped out of a doctoral program in 2016. I'm saying, God, I have all this education and I don't have anything. My husband, again, working sales. Financially, we were a 2-income household. But let me tell you where the real miracle came in place. After being distraught, after being hurt, after living through what I felt like was betrayal. People don't understand. I was really trying to give back to people. I wasn't really trying to be in charge. I wanted to really truly help people, and I felt a level of betrayal in that. But it was through therapy where God allowed me to realize that I was the problem. I was the problem. I was the problem. I'm not, you will probably meet or see some of these people and they would say, no, she was far from the problem. But self-development, when God is developing you, you see you for what is laid out before you. You see what you see when what you see in the mirror. You see what you see in the mirror. And that doesn't mean that you're absent from what God has created you to be. You're not absent from that. It's just developing. God does this thing where it can be a slow rollout or a fast rollout. But it all comes down to his time and his will, his way, and you showing up, you being in position, your heart being right and being ready, okay? So, left my job, feeling depression, needed someone with the acumen to take me through that, and realizing through that therapy, uncovering my own core belief system that was unraveling before me. So it wasn't just leaving a 9-to-5. It was God giving me my life back and saying, I got this set for you. So take the real estate exam and pass that. God allowed me to see where my health was a hindrance to it all. Lose a whole lot of weight. And now I'm left in this season where I'm truly trying to find me. God, show me me. Show me how to take what you've given me so I can be a blessing to other people. So this is what he gave me. You need to take care of your husband. Your husband has needs of you. And mind you, I'm operating on my job at a really high level. My kids, they needed me, very critical ages. Still, at the time, this was 2021. They were both 3 years younger. So that means my son was 11. My daughter was 7. So you're talking about some real critical ages where their emotional needs have to continue to be cultivated. And let me tell you, God, I don't want to be no stay-at-home mom. I'm in my 40s. That's for those little girls in their 20s. So God is introducing me to being this, to sowing into my household, sowing into the heart and mind and soul of my children. But most important, sowing into my husband. When you understand the order of a godly household, my husband is first in everything. God is one. And when I'm honoring God, I'm honoring my husband. I'm meeting the needs of my husband. I'm making sure that, and this is still a growth spurt for me. But when I left my job and I truly began to submit myself to the will of God and my husband, and I cried myself into, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And I lived in the shame of that. I wouldn't tell anybody. So we're going to do this real estate thing. People are not going to think anything of it. I get to help some people. I get to show some properties. And let me tell you, real estate is a lot more than that. But God elevated my thinking. I could be more creative. I could be more intentional when I did not have that distraction. I could discern where my children were in their hearts. I was available to be at the school meetings. I was available to show up to things that they were having at school. I have not grown comfortable in this role at all. because I'm constantly looking at ways that I can create some level of income for my family. So I left my corporate 9 to 5. I live to tell you through it. We live below our means. And it has been the best decision that me and my husband ever made. And let me tell you about my husband. My husband said that he heard from the Lord months before I had made the decision. But he needed God to tell me, because if he had mentioned it to me, because mind you, I was out of order. Our household was out of order. It was out of alignment with the order that God would have. So he's right. I probably would not have listened to him, because seasons past, things didn't always turn out the way that I felt like they should have. And releasing a spirit of Jezebel where you want to be, and yes, I said it, that spirit of Jezebel where you want to be in control of things. God placed the woman here in the earth to multiply, to help replenish the earth. And along with that, he sent your husband. And you are to fulfill his needs. And I know that this thought system can be considered as archaic, but I'm telling you, it's so much fruit that comes from a quiet and still woman. So not only did I leave my job, not only did I reconnect with my husband, not only did I show up for my kids, I showed up for myself. I started a small business, and now I'm in the sphere of coaching. I have a group of about 550 women that God has allowed me to be a part of, because I'm just as much of encouragement to them as they are to me. Or did I say that wrong? They're much more of an encouragement to me than I could ever be to them. But we are a community of individuals who have made a decision to put our health first. First, to acknowledge that our health is a priority. And through just daily communication, my goal is to lead people out of the strain of gluttony. And I have ran and ran and ran, and I'm still running from that topic because it is not pleasing to the palate. But because God set me free from it, I want to see so many other women live their best life in this place of freedom. What I love about the God that we serve, he is no respecter of person. He didn't just say, Ayana, healing belongs to you. He says, no, when you come to me, you accept me as your Lord and Savior. You recognize that I died on the cross for your sins. Then Ayana, healing is your portion. Then you, healing is your portion. You get to walk in the full benefits of who he is when you have accepted him as your Lord. Y'all, I'm Ayana. We talk about topics that weigh on people, weigh on their mind, weigh on your soul, weigh on your spirit. But when your soul is tired, there's only one relief, And that is the King of Kings. And that is the Lord of Lords. It's not marriage. It's not a house. It's not a car. It's not having money. Those things are great. But I do believe that we're living in the day where we have to acknowledge our sin, acknowledge our waywardness, and get into our secret place so we can hear from him. I feel good about saying that. I am Ayana, and I've said this before. I am no longer weighted, and I left my 9 to 5, and I'm here to tell you all about it. Like, share, comment. I am looking to grow my YouTube channel. I do believe that God is releasing a long sound right now, and he's looking for a few people he can show himself strong in. He's looking for people he can show himself strong in, and I know that that is me. I know that that is you. We've had these life experiences that didn't kill us, and we can talk about it. Y'all, this has been so good. I hope it's been good to you. Let me know how this content has helped you, how this topic has helped you in the comments, okay? Ayana, no longer weighted. Bye.